You know, the worst part of being invisible isn't the cold or the hunger. It's the way the world moves past you, treating you like a piece of refuse that just doesn't belong in the clean lines of the financial district. For 5 years, that was me, Sergeant Alex Reed, a Bronze Star recipient, a former Army medic who served 3 tours in Afghanistan, and now, just another ghost living under the Freedom Bridge overpass in New York City. The 8 crumpled dollar bills in my pocket. That was everything. It was the total haul from a long day of collecting cans, my food for the next 3, maybe for days if I stretched it. My war was over, but my battle against the VA bureaucracy was endless. You need a permanent address for our PTSD program, Sergeant Reed, and I needed the program to stop the shaking, the nightmares, and the flashbacks so I could get an address. A cruel, ridiculous math problem that only the broken had to solve. I lost my wife, Clara, to cancer while I was overseas. My daughter, Aisha, is a nurse now, following in my footsteps, and she thinks I'm dead. Better that way. What would I tell her? That the man who saved 17 soldiers in a single night now reads medical journals in the public library, wearing a worn military jacket, holding onto his knowledge like it's his last weapon. My medic knowledge, that's the only currency that never expired. That evening, I was sitting against the cold marble of the Federal Reserve building in Liberty Plaza. My stomach was cramping. I hadn't eaten since yesterday. I was looking at that $8, debating how to spend the 99-cent change from the cheap burger I was planning to buy, when I heard it, a sound I knew instantly from Kandahar, the wet, choking gasp of a closed airway. Across the plaza, a man in a tailor-made, $5,000 suit stumbled out of a dark alley, collapsing onto the cold pavement. People in their expensive shoes, the brokers, the lawyers, stepped deliberately around him, not pausing, not caring. One young guy, probably a tech intern, actually pulled out his phone, not to dial 911, but to film. "This is going viral," I heard him say. I watched, and I saw the man's face turning blue. Classic anaphylaxis, severe allergic reaction. 3 minutes, tops, before his throat closed completely. My medic training immediately overrode the hunger, the shame, and the cold. I dropped my backpack and ran. I reached him, dropped to my knees, and checked for medical alert jewelry. Found it, severe peanut allergy. Carry EpiPen. I tore into his jacket pocket, found the auto-injector, but the casing was cracked. The precious epinephrine was leaking uselessly onto the concrete. "No, no, no. Does anyone have an EpiPen? Benadryl, anything?" I roared at the crowd. They backed away, muttering about getting sued or not wanting to get involved. The security guard from the nearby high-rise simply looked over and turned his back. Not on our property. Not my problem. I was in combat. And I had nothing. Wait, not nothing. $8. The nearest pharmacy, Metro drugstore, was across the street. A generic EpiPen cost $7.99 with tax. I knew the price because I'd checked it last week while using their bathroom. $8. My food for 3 days. My everything. The man's eyes met mine, wide with terror, the raw fear of someone who knew they were dying alone. The same look I'd seen in the eyes of a kid I couldn't save in Kandahar. I couldn't fail again. "Listen to me," I ordered, leaning close to his ear, my hands steady now. "I'm a medic. I'm going to get you medicine. You hang on." "That's an order, soldier." I sprinted across the 6 lanes of traffic, dodging taxis and sirens, the 8 crumpled dollars clutched in my fist. Behind me, I heard someone dismissively call out, "That homeless guy just left him here." But I knew the truth. That homeless guy was doing what the entire financial district wouldn't. I hit the pharmacy counter at full speed, slamming my hands down. The young pharmacist, Sarah, jumped back. "EpiPen, generic, now." I barked, my voice carrying the command I used for MEDEVAC. She demanded a prescription. "It's not for me. Man outside, anaphylactic shock. He's dying right now." I slammed the $8 onto the counter. The security guard grabbed my shoulder. "Sir, you need to leave. No loitering. Check your cameras." I shouted, locking eyes with Sarah. "You'll see him dying on the sidewalk. I'm Sergeant Alex Reed, combat medic, Afghanistan. I know how to administer this. He has 60 seconds. I stood my ground, my shaking gone. This was the only place I still made sense. This was combat. Sarah, bless her heart, saw something in my desperation, in the tears that I didn't even realize were streaming down my face. She grabbed the box, scanned it, $7.99. The receipt printed agonizingly slowly. I didn't wait for the 1 penny change. I ripped the box open with my teeth and ran. I dropped to my knees beside the now unconscious man. No breath sounds. Lips purple blue. Come on, soldier, not on my watch. Orange tip to thigh, blue to sky. The mantra. I jammed the injector into the man's expensive suit, held for 10 seconds. The longest 10 seconds since my last firefight. The crowd was silent. I pulled the injector away. Still no breath. I tilted his head back, pleaded, breathe for me. One breath. And then, a gasp. Barely there, but there. The blue tinge faded slightly. Pulse strengthening. He was alive. The EMTs arrived. I recognized them from my old life. Martinez and Carter. Caldwell, Reed. Carter stammered, recognizing me. I gave them the full report. Anaphylactic shock. Epi administered at 9:26. Pulse steady at 92. Watch for biphasic reaction. I was already backing away, disappearing into the crowd as the adrenaline wore off. I heard Martinez tell Carter, that guy trained me. Best medic I ever knew. The man, Marcus Thorne, was trying to sit up. Who saved me? Find him, please. I turned the corner, legs shaky, adrenaline replaced by crushing hunger and exhaustion. My hands were trembling again. $8 gone. My food money. My entire safety net. But I had saved him. I held my water-damaged EMT textbook against my chest, the one thing that proved I still mattered. Richard was breathing. That had to be enough. I didn't know that the tech intern had captured the whole thing, the EpiPen injection, the medic's rapid response, and that the video was already going viral, viewed millions of times. I didn't know that Marcus Thorne, the dying man, wasn't just any CEO, but the head of Thorne Global Pharmaceuticals, the very company that sold EpiPens for $800. I walked back toward the underpass, another invisible man who had just done the most visible thing in the city, only to return to the shadows where society kept me. But Marcus Thorne was not a man who forgot a debt. In the private VIP suite at Mount Sinai Hospital, Marcus Thorne was furious, arguing with his doctor about discharging himself. I need to find him. Late 50s, brown skin, military jacket. The man who saved me, Thorne's assistant, Jennifer, tried to calm him down. Sir, that describes many people in Liberty Plaza. He knew exactly what to do, Thorne insisted. Military precision. Find him. The next morning, ignoring medical advice, Thorne was in the financial district with his security detail. He started at the Metro drugstore. Sarah, the pharmacist, confirmed the story. He paid $8 for the generic. He was desperate. He was crying. Thorne's motorcade found its way to the Freedom Bridge underpass. The homeless scattered, thinking it was a raid. Thorne stepped out alone. I'm looking for Sergeant Alex Reed. I just want to thank him. A Gulf War veteran named Tommy rolled forward in his wheelchair. Doc don't need your money. Rich man, then what does he need? Respect, treatment, a reason to hope. Thorne found me sitting against the pillar, reading my manual. I looked up, recognized him immediately, and tried to leave. Please, Thorne said. Just let me say thank you. Anyone would have done it. The footage shows 50 people who didn't. Thorne countered, then spotted the VA rejection form I'd lost. He picked it up, saw the denial for the PTSD program. His expression changed entirely. You're a veteran. Thorne didn't waste time arguing. He returned to his Bentley and spent the next hour making high-level calls. He pulled up my military record. Purple Heart, Bronze Star with Valor, saving 17 lives. Then he pulled up his company's profit margin, $740 per EpiPen. He bought the generic for $8. His last $8. Thorne called his board of directors. Cancel the congressional testimony on drug pricing. I have something more important. At 9:00 a.m. the next morning, I was in a shelter, waiting for breakfast, when every television in the room showed Marcus Thorne at a podium. The Chiron read, Thorn Global CEO makes shocking announcement. 3 nights ago, I nearly died. Thorn's voice boomed. I'm only alive because a stranger, a homeless veteran, used his last $8 to buy generic epinephrine, the same medication my company sells for $800. Gasps filled the room. Thorn's military photo appeared on the screen. Sergeant Alex Reed, Purple Heart, Bronze Star with Valor, denied treatment by the very country he served, yet he gave his last $8 to save a stranger. The room erupted. That's Doc. Thorn announced the Reed protocol. Every veteran in America will receive free medications from Thorn Global. No paperwork, no address required. And we're funding 100 PTSD treatment centers specifically for homeless veterans. The $8 medication will now be available at cost to anyone who can't afford it. My legs were shaking. It was too much. Suddenly, 3 men in suits. Thorn's security entered the shelter. We found him. Mr. Thorn would like to speak with you. I tried to stand but stumbled. 3 days without food. Thorn met me outside the shelter, standing by his Bentley. I didn't want. I whispered. I know, Thorn said softly. But sometimes, what we want and what needs to happen are different things. You saved my life with $8. Now, let me return the favor. We went to a quiet coffee shop. Thorn patiently watched me eat my first real meal in days. Then he presented the documents. I'm offering you the position of Director of Veteran Services, Thorn Foundation. $150,000 salary, full benefits, housing included. I pushed the papers back. I can't. I have PTSD. I haven't seen my daughter in 2 years. Your daughter knows, Thorn interrupted gently. He showed me a video of Aisha, my daughter, my nurse, in her scrubs, sobbing. Dad, please come home. I became a nurse because of you. I broke completely, sobbing into my hands. Thorn waited. My brother, Tommy, he revealed, was a veteran. Came home broken. I was too busy making billions to help him. He killed himself 4 years ago. You gave me what I denied Tommy, a second chance to do what's right. Thorn continued. I need you. The foundation needs you. Those treatment centers need someone who understands the underpass and combat. You have the moral compass, he revealed. My daughter, Aisha, was waiting in his car. She'd driven there as soon as she saw the news. I looked at Aisha, then at Thorn. The other veterans, the ones still under the bridges. They get help, too, every single one we can reach. And the medication's truly free, no hidden costs. $8 started this. We keep it human. I signed the contract. My hand was steady. Welcome to Thorn Foundation, Director Reed. 1 year later, I stood at the podium in Congress, clean-shaven, hands steady, addressing the Veterans Affairs Committee, senators. Last year, 50,000 veterans received free medications through the Reed protocol. Not one was asked for an address. Not one was turned away. We helped reduce the suicide rate by 30%. I lived in a modest apartment. I taught trauma response to corporate executives who were required to understand compassion. The Thorn centers built where my underpass camp used to be served 300 veterans daily. The Reed protocol, the $8 standard, had forced other pharmaceutical companies to lower prices for those in need. Thorn Global's profits rebounded, proving that doing the right thing is good business. A year after the rescue, I stood at the corner of Liberty Plaza and Broadway, 9:17 p.m., the exact spot where I made the choice. Thorn appeared with coffee. We called it $8 day. A young, homeless veteran approached us hesitantly, holding 8 crumpled dollar bills. Are you Sergeant Reed? He opened his hand. This is all I have, but I want to do something like you did. I gently closed the young man's fingers around the bills. Keep it. But here's what you do. When you see someone who needs it more than you, you'll know. And when you help them, tell them to pass it on. The young man nodded, tears in his eyes, and walked away. The $8 act of war didn't just save a billionaire. It saved an entire industry. It proved that your worth isn't measured by what you have, but by what you are willing to give. I have to ask you, what will your $8 become? If you were Sergeant Reed, would you have made the same choice, knowing the consequence was going hungry? Share your thoughts below. Hit like if you believe that human decency is the only currency that truly matters, and subscribe. Because the world needs more people to choose compassion over survival.